All right, everybody, I am back with a brand new Rebel Moon update. And this is in regards to the Rotten Tomatoes score video that I did yesterday. Because as of yesterday, only the critic scores were up. And most of them were horrible reviews. And you could tell that they had an axe to grind with Zack Snyder and also with the fans. So those reviews cannot be trusted. And I said, just wait until the audience scores came out. And the audience scores did come out. And, you know, it's funny how people think that I'm instantly going to do a video immediately and get it up. I had already done 3 videos yesterday, and so I had to wait till today to address this issue. Otherwise, a lot of people would not see this. Now, it might be loud in my house in the background because my daughter's home. One of my daughters is home from college. She's the loud one, and things get kind of crazy. So if you hear people talking on the other side, that's what that is. But we're going to look at the Rotten Tomatoes score, and we're going to see what exactly is going on with the audience scores. Okay, and we're going to talk about this. All right, so here we are. Let's look up Rebel Moon again. I don't know why everything's in all in caps. All right, so you can still see it is 24% by critics. Only 42 reviews, guys. That's it. That's not a big group of people. But most of those, I showed these yesterday, they had an axe to grind. They didn't like the fans that like Zack Snyder. They don't like Zack Snyder. It was very clear that they could not review the movie impartially. Now, the audience score has some issues too, and let's look at some of these. It's at 70%. Now, yesterday, I think at one point it was at 88%. I posted a video or a photo on Twitter, and I got jumped on, and a lot of people attacked me after I posted that picture because of what some of these reviews are. And we're going to take a look at some of these. Now, there's over 500 plus ratings at this stage. So somebody said, can I review this movie without seeing it? Of course I can. It's Rotten Tomatoes. And they gave it 2.5 stars, which is going to help drag that rate down. Somebody did 4 stars and said an epic sci-fi universe in the making is off to a strong start with the part 1 of Rebel Moon. While I can't wait for the director's cut, it was an absolute delight and an incredible watch. Highly recommend for this to anyone that loves the sci-fi and western diesel punk-esque genre. Now, if you click these people, you're going to see that they've only reviewed one movie, Rebel Moon. So that's probably a fake. Well, it's not a fake profile. It's a real person. Now, whether they got on here to do it truthfully or not is another person, or is a whole other issue. Now, notice none of these people have pictures. Bruno S., a terrible movie with a notable lack of character development and boring moments. 0.5 star. Again, his only review. Someone said, Mason H. said, Absolute Cinema had a great time with it. Let's see how many reviews they've done. Oh, this is their only review. Moving down the list, Sophia Stefani said, the movie is fantastic. How many movie reviews? Okay, they've done a couple. So they did the Marvels as well, which is kind of weird. But Ryan M. said, derivative, as it is beautiful, Rebel Moon is in... Okay, so this person just took part of one of the professional reviewers. They copy and pasted part of this because I remember reading this the other day. Again, that was taken off of one of the other critics' reviews. Most of these, if I keep going through these, you're going to see that this is the only movie that they have reviewed. Okay? So what does this say? That people are coming in and review bombing this on both ends of the spectrum. This has made... Now, what people need to understand is that there was a PR firm that got outed this last year. I actually did a video on Rotten Tomatoes. I actually had Rotten Tomatoes on the card promoting that video. You can go find it. I'm not sure which video it was. I do so many videos. But I did a whole video on Rotten Tomatoes, that PR scandal, and I told everybody, this has made Rotten Tomatoes irrelevant. You cannot trust the critics and you cannot trust the audience. Because when it came to that PR firm, they were paying regular audience people to come in. They were paying them to give certain reviews to certain movies to boost them up or tear them down. And the critics are obviously corrupted because of the way they don't even talk about the movie on its merits. They tend to talk about the fandom or just Zack Snyder in general and not the movie itself. That is a huge, huge problem. I told everybody I review stuff based on the movie itself. I don't care who directed it, who did it. I'm going to give you an honest review. These are not honest reviews, people. So there is no way to know without going into these profiles. Again, that's their only movie that they've reviewed. So you can't trust the reviews on Rotten Tomatoes. The whole point in this is that it's a sham. That you have to do your homework now. You have to go into Rotten Tomatoes. You have to look at how many reviews people have done to even trust what they're reviewing. You also have to look at the critics and understand, and it's also important to understand that Rotten Tomatoes is owned by 3 different companies. It's owned by Warner Brothers, it's owned by IGN, and it is owned by Universal. And if you don't think that those companies are paying these reviewers or incentivizing them to give false reviews, you're ignorant. It's happening. There's money going on behind the scenes. That's how these companies operate. There's no question about it. You cannot deny that. If you're saying that that's not happening, you're living under a rock. You don't understand how business works. You don't understand how money works. And you cannot trust those critics' reviews. And I will never trust the critic reviews ever again. I showed you yesterday on Fat Man. This Fat Man was a really good movie. And critics hated it only because it had Mel Gibson in it. Everybody I know who has seen that film has really enjoyed it. I had one person in my comments say they didn't like it. One person. Outside of that, everybody I personally know that I've shown it to, and I've shown it to a lot of people. I've turned that movie on to a lot of people. It's a good movie. It's an excellent film. For me, it's a 5-star film, and I don't give 5 stars very often to films. And that movie was a 5-star film, and it was a horrible rating by critics. Usually, if critics hate it, the audience is going to love it. That's usually how it works on Rotten Tomatoes. The scores are arbitrary. They don't mean anything. Rotten Tomatoes is irrelevant. Their sole purpose was built to give scores to the audience, and because they have been corrupted by both the critics and the audience, the whole site is irrelevant. Their whole purpose has been ruined. It is not to be trusted, guys. It is not to be trusted. All right, so there's my update on the Rotten Tomatoes score and everything that's going on. We won't know, and this is kind of irrelevant to how it's going to stream on Netflix. Netflix only cares about the streaming numbers and what it's going to do, bringing in revenue for Netflix. And so we'll see when it comes out. I have a feeling it's going to be a big hit. Is the movie going to be great? I don't know. I haven't seen it yet. I've been trying to get tickets, and it's ridiculous that I want to go to the movies to see this at this stage, and I can't go see it. I think it's a huge missed opportunity by Netflix to, for not putting this in a more wide release, that they're only showing it in 70mm theaters here in the U.S. in only 2 places and then 2 other places around the world. And that's just dumb. It's a dumb business decision. Make the money. We'd still stream it on Netflix. And it's just, I don't know. This whole thing is a debacle at this stage. The whole thing is a debacle, but it shows you how polarizing Zack Snyder is. Critics hate him. Studios hate him. Netflix is totally invested in him, and they really are trying to get a brand new IP off the ground. All right, so what do you guys think about everything that's going on with Rotten Tomatoes? If you've seen the movie, I'd love to see what you guys think about it. I do appreciate all the support. I'm only 9 subs away from 10,000. So we'll see you on the flip side.